Hello everyone, I'm Grace. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about the grammar differences between Taiwanese Mandarin and mainland Chinese Mandarin. I will point out 5 differences in grammar between them so that you can switch between these two styles or at least understand them. Okay, let's get started. First of all, I want to say that most of the grammar between Taiwanese and mainland Chinese Mandarin is the same. But because once a language is spoken in different areas, it diversifies into different versions in terms of pronunciation, words, slang, and grammar, etc. So today we're going to take a look at 5 grammar features in spoken Mandarin in Taiwan that are different from that in China. And by the way, these grammar features are very colloquial, so if you're going to take a Mandarin test, you better not use these grammar structures, but feel free to use them in the daily conversation and testing with your Taiwanese friends. Number 1. Using 有, have, and 没有, not have, as auxiliary verbs. In Taiwan, we can use 有, have, as an auxiliary added before a verb to indicate the completion of an action or mean that we have done something. In mainland Chinese Mandarin, people usually use 了 or 已经 to express that completion. Let's take a look at some examples. In mainland Chinese Mandarin, when people want to say I've heard that, they say 我听说了我听说了 In Taiwanese Mandarin, we say 我有听说我有听说 Another example, in mainland Chinese Mandarin, 我已经去过那个地方我已经去过那个地方 or 我去过那个地方我去过那个地方 I've been to that place. In Taiwanese Mandarin, you might hear people say 我有去过那个地方我有去过那个地方 As for the negative form, in Taiwanese and mainland Chinese Mandarin, they both can use 没有 not have as an auxiliary to show that you didn't do something or you don't have that experience. For example, 我没有听说过我没有听说过 I haven't heard that. 我没有去过那个地方我没有去过那个地方 I haven't been to that place. Also, in these two styles of Mandarin, you can both use 有没有 plus a verb to ask another person whether they have done something. Like, 你有没有吃过这个你有没有吃过这个 Have you eaten this? 你有没有看过那本书你有没有看过那本书 Have you read that book? Okay, in Taiwanese Mandarin, 有 and 没有 can also be used as auxiliaries to indicate the existence or non-existence of something. And this usage does not exist in mainland Chinese Mandarin. For example, in mainland Chinese Mandarin, if you want to say is he at home, you would say 他在不在家他在不在家 In Taiwanese Mandarin, you can say 他有没有在家他有没有在家 We can use 有没有 as an auxiliary to form a question to ask whether the person is at home. And this is talking about the existence of something. It's different from talking about whether you have done something. Let's see more examples of this usage in Taiwanese Mandarin. 这家店有卖果汁这家店有卖果汁 This store sells juice. 他没有在 学校他没有在学校 He isn't at school. Okay, let's move on to the next features of Taiwanese Mandarin. That is, ending a question with may to express have you yet? For example, in mainland Chinese Mandarin, you say 你到了吗?你到了吗? Have you arrived yet? In Taiwanese Mandarin, many people also say 你到了没?你到了没? Have you arrived yet? Another example, 你定位了吗?你定位了吗? Have you made a reservation yet? In Taiwanese Mandarin, you might hear people say 你定位了没?你定位了没? The third feature of Taiwanese Mandarin is 不错 plus a verb. 不错 plus a verb. In both Taiwanese and mainland Chinese Mandarin, you can use 不错 to express something is not bad, but that is good. For example, you can say 你的影片很不错,你的影片很不错. Your videos are good. 谢谢, thank you. By the way, 影片 is how we say video in Taiwanese Mandarin, and in mainland Chinese Mandarin, video is 视频. Okay, another example. 这部电影很不错。这部电影很不错。This movie is good. So you can say these in both Taiwanese and mainland Chinese Mandarin. But only in Taiwanese Mandarin can you use 不错 as an auxiliary added before a verb to express that something is not bad, but that is good. And also remember that this is very, very colloquial. Okay, let's see some examples. Like the last one, the movie is good. In Taiwanese Mandarin, you can say 这部电影不错看。这部电影不错看。This movie is not bad. Or another example, 这道菜不错吃。这道菜不错吃。This dish is not bad. 这首歌不错听。这首歌不错听。This song is not bad. Okay, the next features of Taiwanese Mandarin is increase in use of 会 and 不会. Normally, 会 is used as an auxiliary to mean know how or will, and these two meanings both exist in Taiwanese and mainland Chinese Mandarin. But in Taiwanese Mandarin, we can also use 会 and 不会 before an adjective to form a question or a statement. For example, in mainland Chinese Mandarin, you say 这饼干不甜。这饼干不甜。This cookie is not sweet. In Taiwanese Mandarin, we could say 这饼干不会甜。这饼干不会甜。Another example, in mainland Chinese Mandarin, people say 你都没吃东西。饿不饿？你都没吃东西，饿不饿？ You haven't eaten anything. Are you hungry? And in Taiwanese Mandarin, we could say 你都没吃东西，会不会饿？你都没吃东西，会不会饿？
肚子会不会饿？我们带你去吃东西好不好？肚子会不会饿？
But one thing you need to remember is that the adjectives added after 会不会 are mostly undesirable qualities. Okay, the last one is the use of 给. 给 means to give. Maybe you have learned this word before. In both Taiwanese and mainland Chinese Mandarin, 给 means to give. For example, you can say 我把这本书给他。我把这本书给他。I give him this book. 可以给我一杯水吗？可以给我一杯水吗？ Can you give me a cup of water? But in Taiwanese Mandarin, 给 can also be used to mean that. For example, 不要给别 人知道，不要给别人知道。Don't let others know. In mainland Chinese Mandarin, you would say 不要让别人知道，不要让别人知道。Another example, 不好意思，给你等这么久，不好意思，给你等这么久。Sorry for letting you wait for such a long time. In mainland Chinese Mandarin, you would say 不好意思，让你等这么久，不好意思，让你等这么久。So in Taiwanese Mandarin, sometimes people also use 给 to mean that. Okay, that's all for today. And for the record, these are not all the grammar differences between these two styles of Mandarin. There are still some of them I haven't covered yet. So please let me know if you are interested in knowing more differences between Taiwanese and mainland Chinese Mandarin. Also, if you travel around these two places and notice some differences, you're welcome to share that in the comment section. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time. Bye!